How's it going, guys? Welcome back to excuse me. Welcome back to Pop Culture Critics Page Wonder thing. I know last week we were trying to do the review for The Last Jedi. Then we had some technical difficulties, and it wasn't pretty. It was just a big mess. Oh, hello.
Sorry about that.
You're fine. So with me today I have Jaren once again.
Hello.
I had a buddy of mine in Iowa originally to do it with me, but again, technical difficulties. Gotta love those, but you gotta hate them at the same time. So, without pretty much any further ado, I do apologize for, it being like 3 weeks since doing a review for this movie. I went to see it once, had to see it again. And then,
I saw it twice when I was on vacation as well.
Yeah, I had to see it twice just so I could at least get something good for it, because there's a lot to cover in this movie.
Oh, yes.
So let's just jump right into it today. So this movie was directed by Rian Johnson and is the story literally right after Episode 7.
Like, I don't think it's even like a day after, like immediately.
Yeah, it's immediately.
It just jumps right in.
Yeah, it's immediately after. Well, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It's pretty much immediately after Episode 7, and so Rey is now with Luke Skywalker. She wants him to train him, and as you can tell by the trailers, Luke pretty much just wants the Jedi to die, while Kylo is still kind of beating himself up about whether he wants to be officially on the dark side or not.
Right.
Pretty much.
Which actually adds some really cool character depth for him.
Mm-hmm. So before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about... Well, I guess we can talk about the characters to start with. Let's start with...
I mean, since we're on the topic, let's just start with Kylo.
Yeah, let's start with Kylo first. Might as well.
He's much better in this than he was in 7.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Adam Driver did a much better job, and he definitely bulked up for this movie.
And it definitely shows.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've seen the memes and you've seen the everything, it shows. Yeah, Kylo Ren's character, in Episode 7, he wasn't too bad. He just... I don't know.
People gave him a lot of crap.
Yeah, they gave him a lot of crap.
For being very angry and whiny. It's like, I didn't see him as whiny. Yeah, he was angry, but...
Not really whiny.
Sith.
Yeah.
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate.
You whiny little Sith. I gotta love play on words. But yeah, like we were saying, Adam Driver, he's a great actor. He did an amazing job as Kylo Ren in this movie. He did a good job in Episode 7. He did have some stuff that he could have...
Well, I think he took all that feedback and he
definitely put it into work in this one. And you can just tell that with Kylo Ren's character in this movie, there's just a lot that he's going through. He's still butting heads with himself and just trying to determine whether he wants to actually be a Sith or if maybe what he's doing is wrong. Pretty much, he just kind of wants everything to die, I guess?
That's what it seems.
Yeah, and I mean, and you can kind of tell that from the trailers and everything. He just kind of wants everything to die and just, I guess, start something new.
Yeah, that's what it seems. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Daisy Ridley as Rey was really good in this movie. I'm trying to determine if it was better in this movie or if it was better in Episode 7. Because she did an amazing job in both movies. Episode 7, even though she didn't have much screen time to a certain extent with everything going on with them trying to reboot the trailer or
I
the
feel like
trilogy.
It did a little better here simply because we got to know a little more about her.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
And like we got to get to know her character a bit better.
Yeah.
Like who she is, like training with Luke, that cave scene.
Which you will see
Mm-hmm.
when you see the movie. If you haven't already seen it, it's been out for like 3 weeks. So, if you haven't already seen it, go see it now. What are you doing?
Yes.
Stop watching this stream. Go see it right now. But yeah, Daisy Ridley did an amazing... she did a good job as Rey once again. I think I have to agree with you. She was much better in this one because it goes back to the thing with Kylo. She took that feedback from the first movie and went in this movie with a whole different attitude and probably like a whole different like character, really.
Yeah.
She definitely evolved within the time of Episode 7 and 8, being like 3 seconds or whatever in between the time. But like just throughout everything that's happened in 7 with her, leading up into 8, and even at the end of 8, she's just grown a lot.
And I actually heard before the movie was coming out, there was like a promotional video of her training for like, and she bulked up. Like there was no way she was going to be able to lift Mark Hamill for that joke picture for his birthday. That happened last year.
I need to see that stuff then. Speaking of Mark Hamill, there's a lot of hate going around with Mark Hamill's Luke in this one.
I'm very mixed.
I kind of like it. I like it because while we already know Luke Skywalker being the greatest Jedi ever lived or whatever, and everything that's happened, even though we don't really get to see what else there was after episode 6 and whatever kind of like challenges he faced, or even with him training Kylo Ren, because it's mentioned in 7, you could just tell throughout this movie that he's definitely an older character, an older person. He's just kind of done with the Jedi because from his opinion, everything that the Jedi have done, even though it was for good, it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just tell that he's just done. Not Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's not done. Like, Luke Skywalker as a Jedi is just done. Yeah. And, again, it just really shows because he's out in the middle of nowhere. And his character himself, just the way that Mark Hamill portrays Luke in this movie compared to the way he's portrayed him in the last movies, even though he's kind of like that grizzly, grumpy old man or whatever.
And see, that's what threw me off, is because it's like, I expect Luke to kind of be this wise old man, not a grumpy, kind of like Obi-Wan wise.
Well, he's wise
He
still,
is,
but
like,
he's wise in the ways of knowing that they shouldn't try and continue on what should have already died.
Yeah. It just felt a little out of character for him to say that an entire religion that he used to study needs to die. That just felt out of character for him.
Yeah.
So I have very mixed feelings about it, because I did like him.
Yeah.
You have to remember, some things that I didn't like.
You have to remember, though, again, this takes place several years after 6. So, in 6, he didn't really know much. Even though, he was a Jedi in 4, 5, and 6,
mm-hmm.
he didn't really know much about the Jedi until, obviously, within the time being of 6 and 7, or
right.
8, technically. So, he's had a lot of time to just kind of study and learn all the stuff that the Jedi have done and before him. So
right.
That's probably a big thing too as to why he thinks that they need to die. I'm trying to think who. Carrie Fisher, rest in peace. You will forever be missed. She was amazing in this movie, as always. She's snarky. She's hilarious.
Slapped Poe Dameron in the face. That was great.
That was great. Minor spoiler. Poe gets slapped by Leia. Is that really a surprise? Come on, let's be real here. John Boyega's Finn was good, but to be honest, unnecessary.
I mean, okay, this is the thing. John Boyega does a great job, and Finn does a great job. He just got put in a really bad situation in the script. So
let's talk about that real quick.
Before we do that, let's talk about Poe's character, because that felt completely off course from what we got from him in 7.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumors going on that in number 8 he's going to in 9. There's theories going around that in 9 Leia will die, which I wouldn't be surprised at that point. And he will take over as general.
I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't mind that either because, it goes back to what you were saying, that Poe's character is much different in this movie compared to the last movie. The last movie, we only saw a little bit of him, and he was just kind of there, really.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, they gave him much more of an important role, and they gave him more of a reason to be in the movie than they did with John Boyega.
And with that said, though, the thing is, Poe felt, like I said, his character, it was so different that it was really noticeable, and it felt like it deviated from what we saw in 7, because I wasn't expecting him to be this hero drunk flyboy that wants to be the hero.
I kind of saw it. Let me rephrase it. after watching episode 8 and then going back and watching episode 7, I could see it.
See, I should probably do that.
Yeah, if you watch episode 8 and then you kind of don't really know how you feel about Poe's character, go back and watch episode 7 right after, and you can kind of see how he is still that kind of flyboy. Because there's that part, if you haven't seen 7, spoiler alert, it's been out for like 3 years. In episode 7, there's that scene where they're on the planet meeting Maz, I think her name is, and like the Empire starts like attacking, and then the fighters come, not the TIE fighters,
the X-Wings.
The X-Wings. Wow. Wow. The X-Wings come in, and you see Poe just like flying around, just like picking them off one by one, doing like spins. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think I need to go back and watch 7 just to see if it connects.
Yeah, and even though he's like the big, like, gotta blow everything up fly guy, whatever, in this movie, he still takes his role, or he still takes his character very seriously when it needs to be serious. So even though he's like that flyboy, when it's time to actually care about the people that are on the ship or whatever, which that's kind of another story thing, is the Empire's chasing the people.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that. Yeah, when it's time to care about the people, he's the first one to go right into it and just immediately is trying to do everything to help them. And that's a big thing for Poe as a character because, again, going back to the thing about episode 9 is that could really show if he ever takes place of Leia.
Yeah. Which I think he should, honestly. I think that'd be a really cool character arc for him.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Let's talk about the Finn and Rose.
I hate that. that was so stupid.
There's a scene within... There's not a scene. It's half a story. It's a whole side story of Finn and Rose trying to find this person...
Codebreaker.
Yeah, this codebreaker to assist them. I'm not gonna say any more about it. Like, story plot-wise about it.
I want to, but I'm not going to.
Let's just say that I think it was episode 1 that George Lucas did on this, where it was pretty much, it was unnecessary to be in that movie, but it had to be in it for the story to make sense. I think he did that with episode 1.
I can't really put my opinion without talking spoilers, but I can say not really. And we can talk about this after the stream.
Yeah, because I am a little curious about that. Pretty much, like I said, I personally just don't think that whole story wasn't needed.
I think Rose's sister was a more interesting character. The character that died at the beginning.
Spoiler alert.
The pilot.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, pretty much. You don't know much about that character, but you feel more for that character than you ever do with her. Mm-hmm. Let's get off that topic before we start going into spoilers, because it's going to happen if we keep going into this.
Maybe we should get into a spoiler section. Like, we get all the
get all the stuff out, and then
do a spoiler section.
So yeah, at the very end of this, we'll do a very quick spoiler-ish session, because like I said, the movie's been out for like 3 weeks now, so if you haven't seen the movie, then you must be staying off social media to avoid like all the spoilers, for real.
Good on you for being able to do that. Like,
yeah, for real. Bravo. So we'll do a very short spoiler take at the end of this. We're going to try going as spoiler-free as possible before then.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Snoke.
I'm going to stay quiet.
Here's my opinion of him. He was needed, but he was unnecessary. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. Because
he was needed because of the whole thing with Kylo Ren and all that, and then with Rey included, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. But it goes back to he's unnecessary because you don't learn anything about him, and to be honest, you don't really need to care about him much.
Honestly, I think what would have made this movie loads better is if they cut the entire Finn and Rose thing in half and replaced that with more Snoke background and stuff. And doing stuff with him and Kylo.
Like flashbacks?
Not flashbacks, but just like have more interaction with him, with Kylo and Rey.
Okay. Yeah, that would be much better.
Like, I'm not saying have like an exact scene of like the opera scene from Episode 3, but like something along those lines.
Right.
Of just to get us a sense of who he is and why he's doing the things he does.
Well, even Episode 3 did a good job with that. I mean,
yeah.
it was a very small moment, but it was needed.
Right.
And
that's what I'm saying. If we had cut the Rose and Finn stuff in half, we could have gotten more of that.
Yeah, definitely. Rian Johnson, again, because he was the director for this, he was getting a lot of hate, I think, for what he did, because he pretty much took everything that J.J. Abrams did in Episode 7 and kind of said no and did his own little thing.
Yeah.
Even though it was still kind of like in the storyline of what had happened from 7, that's about it.
There were a lot of inconsistencies, though, and we'll get in that.
Yeah,
spoiler section.
yeah, there were a lot of inconsistencies, but I think his directing and I think the inconsistency parts are a little bit of the writer's fault.
Yeah.
But even though, I mean, he was kind of the writer also, it was him and like a team of other people that could have been like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Right. I mean, it's like Ryan watched 7 to like, because he had to like get the story stuff, and he watches like, yeah, no, and then he wrote his own thing. And
I like the end scene, but I'm doing something different.
Right.
Yeah. But again, his directing in this movie, I thought was really good. There were a lot of good camera angles. There was a lot of good cuts, and the scenes that, like, all the scenes were really nicely filmed. Mm-hmm. One in particular is when the sound gets cut off.
Oh, yes.
You'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen it, and you will know what I'm talking about if you go see it.
I'm good. Beat a sneeze.
That was my reaction when I saw the scene. I was like, it was beautiful. It probably was the greatest scene of that entire movie.
Yeah, I'd agree. Well, there's one other scene I really liked, but...
Are you talking about the final fight scene?
If you can call that a final fight, but yes.
Kylo Ren, whatever thing. Yeah. Not really spoiler, because it was bound to happen. Some sort of Kylo versus Rey and whatever doohickey things. But, I mean, I still think it's the greatest sequence. Like, the greatest moment of that movie was that right there. Mm-hmm. And you'll know what I'm talking about when you go see the movie. If you've seen it, you already know what I'm talking about. Let's see, we've covered story to an extent. We've covered directing, we covered characters to an extent.
Here's an important thing we need to talk about. The porgs.
Or however, I don't even know. Those things are annoying.
I don't care what you're trying to do, Star Wars. You can't replace Chewbacca.
Those things are annoying. Those things are so annoying.
They sell toys, though.
They're so annoying. They're funny. They're very funny. Everything with Chewie and the Porgs is great. It's hilarious. I love it. But my God, are those things annoying.
People said the Ewoks were annoying. These things are annoying.
These things are worse. These things are worse than the Ewoks.
They just sit there, they flap, and they...
These things are probably just as annoying as Anakin Skywalker in Episode 2.
Ooh, ouch.
Sorry, Hayden Christensen, but not your best acting.
You would mic drop, but it's up there.
Just pull it down. Just drop it. So, we got the Porgs, we got Chewie, we got everything character-wise. Can you think of anything?
The action was much better in this, like the combat action.
Oh, yeah, the combat action was much better, and I think probably the story overall was much better in this one, because, like, 7 was a setup for everything going on. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. So, a lot of people were saying that Episode 7 was pretty much Episode 4. That was going on.
And, I mean, it was.
Yeah, it was. This movie, it was its own movie, but it had a lot of its own... Like, it was its own movie, but it had a lot of repeating factors from
I think
other
this is
movies.
A good point to start the spoiler section. So,
all right, before we get into the spoiler section, let's rate the movie real quick.
Okay.
I thought this movie was really good. There were a lot of inconsistencies with this movie. It was still a great movie, though, overall. I would probably give it a B+.
I'd give it a solid B.
Solid B?
Yeah.
It's not good enough to be A- material.
Yeah.
Because
I can't give it an A because of what I'm about to say.
My buddy said that he was going to give it an A-, and we went into like this 20-minute conversation with him and his girlfriend and myself about it, and then we were like, you know what? No, it's like a B+. So
like B+, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. We'll give it a solid like 87%.
Yeah.
Right in the dead center of a B and a B+.
Yep.
So thank you guys for watching this. If you want to stick around for the spoilers, we're going to do that real quick. Probably like 5-ish minutes of spoilers or whatever, because I'm sure it'll go by fast. If you aren't going to stay, then I will be trying to get reviews done. I'm going to tell you right now, the beginning of this year is going to be super hectic. I'm going to try and get as much stuff done as I can. We're going to get Trailer Talks done next week. We're going to do House of Horrors for
February. We're going to start doing game reviews.
Yeah, February he's going to start doing game reviews for you guys for the page. Like next week we're going to be doing Trailer Talks on Tuesday like normal. We're going to be doing something called House of Horrors, so we're going to be doing a lot of horror movies for Slender Man, Truth or Dare. We're going to talk about New Mutants again, and probably one more. We'll figure it out. If you have anything, there's a comment section you can leave us. So if you guys are leaving, it was good to see you guys. It was good to talk to you guys. I will see you next week on Tuesday. Let's get into spoilers.
All right.
Rant away, my friend, because I know that you got stuff to talk about.
Congratulations, Star Wars Episode 8. You did it. You didn't do Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. You did fucking Return of the Jedi. You literally took the script and copy-pasted it. That entire Snoke scene was copy-pasted.
That entire Snoke scene was copy-pasted.
Like, even line for line. They were going up the elevator. I know there's good in you. Like, really? Really? You couldn't do anything else? Then when she approached Snoke, come young Rey. Like, you just quoted Sidious and just changed the name. That's all you did.
They did do a lot of copy-paste with at least that. Like, the whole Snoke scene, which is why I was saying earlier that it was unnecessary, because it was literally, like, the entire time that they were up on the ship, it was just Episode 6 all over again. And then there was the whole thing with the Star Destroyers chasing after, like, the freaking rebel ship that was just floating around. And it's like, come on, really? You guys just kind of float, and then y'all are shooting at them, and, like, nothing's happening, especially with that new general chick who took control temporarily.
Apparently, she was in Jurassic Park.
Yes.
I did not know that.
She played the main chick.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I see that, yeah.
That's an off note, but yeah.
Yeah, that's an off note. But that entire, like, whole sequence thing, I get why it was needed, but it just slowed the whole movie down. When it got to that point, I just stopped caring. I was like, y'all are still chasing the ship? Also, you're in outer space. Why is there gravity? Why are you dropping bombs in outer space? Follow-up. Why are your missiles arcing to hit the rebel ship with the shields on?
There's no gravity.
You don't arc. It's just shoot straight forward.
It'll go.
It hurts. It hurts.
I mean, to be fair, Star Wars science logic never has made sense.
Yeah.
Like if we're complaining about this, we should also be complaining about the 12 parsec thing with the Millennium Falcon.
We're not getting into that. We're not getting into that. No.
Or the Midichlorians.
The what now? What is this thing that you're talking about? I don't recall what it is.
Exactly.
It doesn't exist.
We don't talk
Dear
about
Liam Neeson, you're wrong. Oh, light changed in here. That was weird.
Very weird.
We're going to do a very, very quick talk about Rose and Finn.
I hated that so much. That was so boring.
It was not necessary. The end. Like, for real, like, that in their entire, like, whole love story or whatever, and their just entire mission it was unnecessary, especially at the end of the movie where, like, after everything they went through, Phasma caught them, and then the dude that was the codebreaker sold them out.
Good. That Phasma scene was a good fight. Too bad it didn't last long.
It literally was a 30-second fight.
Yeah, it was so stupid. And it was cool because, for those of you who don't know, the lady who plays Phasma is actually in Game of Thrones. She plays Brienne, for those of you who are caught up. And she's a really badass swordsman. And you could see that with her attacks. Like, when she attacks, she's doing that Game of Thrones stuff. But it didn't last at all.
I kind of feel like she's going to come back somehow in episode 9.
I hope.
Because you have to remember her armor is, like, invincible. It's invincible armor. And even though there's, like, this tiny crack,
that's because Finn literally just whacked her with it.
Well, yeah, but like I said, even though there's that tiny crack where, like, her eye is, I feel like she might just suffer some burns.
That'd actually be kind of cool, actually.
If she suffered some burns and, like, that was still there.
I'd like that, actually. That'd be awesome.
Dear J.J. Abrams, because I know you're going to be doing number 9, if you're watching this, which I know you aren't, but if you ever stumble upon this, keep that in mind. Keep that idea going.
Do it!
Please. That'd be awesome. Because Phasma did not get enough glory in 7. She did not get enough in 8 at all.
I will say this. I'm going to piss a lot of people off. At least she's better than Boba Fett.
She really is. Let's be honest here. Boba Fett did nothing.
Boba Fett went out like a bitch. I mean, so did she, but at least she put up a fight and didn't get
She put up a better
Han Solo.
Yeah, she did much better. I mean, yeah, she did much better than Boba Fett. I'm waiting to see, like, the comics just... Yeah, right?
You're wrong!
It's like, test me. Everything after 6 on Boba Fett is not canon. Try me. Excuse me. But yeah, the whole code breaker.
And no, this is actually what I was going to tell you afterwards when we weren't going to do a spoiler section, but that scene, that whole entire sequence wasn't necessary because nothing happened. The entire point was to get the code breaker to hack the, whatchamacallit?
The other ship.
The tracking,
the big dude.
The lightspeed tracker.
Yeah.
And they didn't even accomplish it.
Yeah.
So, no matter what happened, I think would have been cooler.
Well, the reason they did that, though, aside from giving Finn a reason to be in this movie, was because of the actor that they chose for the Codebreaker. They wanted him to actually play a part in it.
Right.
And in the end, he was absolutely useless.
And no, I'm actually going to get to that, because I think what would have been cooler is instead of having this Rose and Finn scene on that casino planet, I think Finn should have escaped in the escape pod, trying to look for Rey, but then crashes, finds this Codebreaker guy, and they kind of work together to try to get off the planet. And then the First Order gets them, and then we get into the fight with Phasma.
And he still sells them out?
Yes.
Ooh.
I think that would have been a much stronger, better subplot than what we got.
Dear Ryan Johnson, rises right. Where's this at?
Take notes.
Take notes. Please. Still a great director, but take notes.
One of my friends was actually saying that he thinks Finn might betray the Resistance. Like, not betray the Resistance, but leave the Resistance to become a smuggler. And join that, and kind of become something like that guy. Which, I don't know if I'm totally on board with that yet, but, you know, it's a thought.
I don't know. They seem to have given, like, Finn a much more better reason to be in the movie than in Episode 7 than they did in 8.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where he's gonna, like, where his character's gonna go in 9 because, again, he was useless in this movie. Yeah. He was useless.
And honestly, this is what kind of upsets me about the movie the most, is it takes these really good character arcs, like with Snoke, the relationships with Snoke and Rey, and Phasma and Finn, and they just kill them off just so early. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, no, you're not completing this arc. We still have questions.
Yeah. Also, the whole freaking like mind connection thing, and then Snoke being like, "Oh yeah, you guys are doing that. That was all me."
Yeah.
I hated that. I was just thinking that they were really strong in the Force and all that. That would have been really cool, like they have.
Yeah, and that's what this movie.
And then Snoke's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, remember that thing you were doing? That was me. You're welcome."
Yeah, no, this movie has this problem where like you see these really cool things and sequences, and then they just drop the ball.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Because you have these things that seem like it's going to be so cool, so interesting. Then they just, whoops.
It's like, oh. It's like they're holding like a piece of like a glass ball. They're just like, here you go. Oh, and like they purposely just drop it. It's just like, oh.
Because it happens so many times.
Or I don't know if you've seen Gravity Falls, but there's a moment in Gravity Falls where this dude who's possessed by Bill Cipher, pretty much gets this thing to like this universe that pretty much releases Bill Cipher. He holds it and he's just like, whoops, like just purposely drops it, just shatters. That's pretty much what happened with this movie.
Yeah,
I was like, come on.
The biggest plot hole though that really got to me though was how Luke said, "I came to this island to die." Why the map? If you wanted to die, why leave something for people to find you?
Oh yeah.
Like,
I never thought of it that way.
Because, yeah, he says, I came to this island because I want to die. But in some, the entire plot was to find the map to Luke Skywalker.
Well, do you think it was a map, or do you think it was just R2 having the knowledge of where Luke is?
That might be the case.
So it's like R2 knows where Luke is. He has the coordinates for it, but Luke probably just took out a piece of it because he knows that R2 was able to do that.
But then why send it to that guy on Jakku?
He trusted him to keep it safe so that nobody would ever try and find him.
And then he trusted... Okay. It's a stretch, but
it's a stretch. It might not be the real reason, but I mean, that's what I'm throwing out there.
I kind of hope they elaborate on it in like some kind of comic or something. Just because it does bother me not knowing if you wanted to die, why do we have this thing to find you?
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to cover quickly in the spoiler?
I will say one thing. I have nothing but respect for Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace. But I'm sorry.
But,
that scene in space.
What are you doing? Why? Freaking just reaching out. I would have given that scene a pass if in episode 7 or earlier in 8, if they had shown Leia actually using the Force more.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, Jesus move, and just like
plus,
save herself.
The way they did it, it looked so goofy and so silly.
It looked so ridiculous.
And I hate it because I laughed at that scene. I felt so bad because I'm like, I can't be laughing at this.
It's Carrie Fisher. But it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
I mean, that right there was a definition of a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Because everyone expected her to die because, well, life.
Well, yeah, and
I actually expected that because I expected Kylo to kill her.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. But then when she started moving her fingers and using the Force, I'm like, please don't do this. Please don't do this, because if you do this, I'm going to laugh, and I don't want to laugh. And then it looked worse than I thought it was going to be, and I'm like, stop. I even nudged my buddy. I'm just like...
When I saw that in the theater the first time, the look on my face, I'm just like this. I'm like... I was lost. I was gone. I was like, what? No. Final thing, and this is just Rian Johnson stuff specifically, was the very, very last scene with the boy using the Force at the end. Just all chill. Like, they didn't, like, put any emphasis on him using the Force. Everybody just watched, and then they're like, wait, what? And I get why they did that. But that was literally specifically just for Ryan. Because of his series that has like nothing to do with the Skywalker line.
Yeah, that's literally that's right. That he's going to do the new trilogy.
He's doing a brand new trilogy that doesn't follow any of the stuff. So I think that was literally it. It was just a small tease that was not really necessary to be in there, unless they bring that planet back.
That scene shouldn't have really been the final scene. That was an end credit scene.
That would have been a nice end credit scene. Unless they bring that planet back and that boy back in episode 9, that was absolutely useless.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for our giant.
There was one other thing that it showed, because he was still wearing the ring that Rose gave him.
Yeah.
So it's like saying the resistance is still alive, blah blah blah. The rebellion lives on, yada yada yada.
They should have just done it a little better.
Yeah,
they should have ended it better than the way they did.
Yeah.
So that's it that we got for you guys. Thank you for staying for the spoiler part. Like I said, it was about 5 minutes. So thank you for joining us for the spoilers. As I said earlier, Trailer Talks will be going on next Tuesday. More than likely normal time, 4-3 Central, whatever. If it changes, I'll let you guys know. And thank you for joining, as always. And once again, this is Pop Culture Critics, signing off.
The Force be with you always.
Yes.